In this video, we will go over adding trips and vehicle inspection reports directly from the application. There are three things that a driver has to do in order to effectively use the certified driver application. When a driver first starts their shift, the driver has to create a trip and do a pre-trip vehicle inspection. At the end of their day, to close out the trip and finish their duties for the day, as far as the application is concerned, the driver has to do a post-trip vehicle inspection. All of those features can be found using the Trips and Inspections button. When the driver first begins their shift, they'll go in and create a trip. The system will tell them that all trips are closed and complete, and they'll simply click the Add Trip button. Now, the trip screen is very easy for the driver to fill out. There's only two pieces of information that are necessary for the driver to be able to save a trip, and both of these can be defaulted by the system. The trip type is actually the industry sector that the driver is operating under. And this is a default that is set up by the motor carrier and can be carried across as the driver logs in to create a trip. This not only tells the system what type of trip the driver will be taking today, but it also snaps in place the correct rule set. Although this is a default, this can also be overridden at the time of trip creation by the driver if necessary. So in other words, if a driver is primarily a long-haul driver but occasionally takes a short-haul trip, the driver has the ability to drop down the list only at the time of trip creation and select the proper trip type. This, as I said before, will snap in place the correct rule set for this particular trip. And it can only be used at the time of trip creation. The only other piece of information that is necessary for creating a trip is for the driver to select a vehicle. Now, this is also something that can be defaulted in the application. Up to 2 drivers can be defaulted to any vehicle, and that could also be carried across at the time of trip creation. All of the other pieces of information are optional at this time. However, they can be entered, such as trailer number, bill of lading, shipper, and commodity. If the driver happens to be on a team, the driver can select the second driver from the drop-down as well. Our system makes it very easy for drivers to switch driving responsibilities back and forth between each other, and using that feature doesn't automatically place the driver into drive duty status. It simply tells the system which driver to credit when the vehicle starts to move again. When the driver has entered all of the necessary information, they simply save the trip, and they are brought directly into the pre-trip vehicle inspection. Once in the DVIR, the driver can walk around the vehicle with the mobile device in their hand and check off any box only for things that are broken on the vehicle, the trailer, or the emergency equipment. Checking any of the boxes would signify a failed vehicle inspection, which would trigger the second alert and send that back to anyone internally who are designated to receive those alerts. The driver can enter any inspection notes that they want internal users to see. Anything that's typed into this field will be seen immediately after the driver signs off on the pre-trip vehicle inspection by internal users. And when the driver's finished, they simply use the sign-off sheet to sign off on the pre-trip vehicle inspection. Now, that does a couple of things. That not only creates the trip, it also places the pre-trip inspection in the inspection grid, but it also puts the driver into on-duty not driving automatically, so it kicks off the automation in the application. From this point forward, when the driver drives the vehicle, the driver will automatically be placed into the driving duty status. When the driver stops the vehicle again, they will automatically be placed into on-duty not driving. So the driver can essentially, from this point forward, go through their day without ever having to change duty status or update their logs. The application will do that for them. However, they do have the ability to manually change their duty status by using the Change Duty Status screen. If they have to take an off-duty break at any time during their shift, they can simply use the off-duty button or the rest break, which will notate their log. Now, at the end of the day, the driver will simply repeat the process to create a post-trip vehicle inspection, and they'll simply use the Trips and Inspections button once again and repeat the process from earlier in the day. They'll click the Add Inspection button, and they will be taken into the post-trip vehicle inspection. Now, there's another vehicle inspection that is listed at the top, and it's called an interim inspection. If the driver has to do another type of inspection, such as short-haul drivers that may drop trailers a few times during the day, the interim inspection can be used as many times as necessary as the driver goes through their day, and it will not affect the start or stop of their trip. Now, just like the pre-trip, the driver will walk around their vehicle checking off anything that is broken on their vehicle, on the truck, the trailer, or the emergency equipment. And if any of these boxes are checked, once again, it will signal that it will trigger that second automated alert, and it will send an alert back to whoever's designated internal to receive it. And a failed post-trip vehicle inspection will also place a couple of other elements in place that has to be taken care of, such as the mechanic will need to sign off on the repair that has been made. The next driver to look at this vehicle will also have to do a review signature stating that the mechanic has actually performed the repair that has been signed off on. And at that time, the vehicle will then once again be placed into the list for being able to be selected and put on a trip. Inspection notes can also be added to this post-trip inspection as well, and when the driver is finished, they simply sign off on the post-trip vehicle inspection. Now, this will also perform a couple of things. It will, of course, close all trips and remove the vehicle inspections that were listed in the grid, and it'll also set the driver automatically into off-duty, completing their day and ending the automation. And at this point, the driver can log out of the application. That's all there is to creating trips and doing vehicle inspections in the driver application.